The rain hadn't been forecasted, not even a hint of it, yet it fell like tiny glass needles as Veronica Hale sprinted across the glossy airport floor, heels slipping, breath short, eyes locked on gate A16, where her private jet had been waiting minutes ago. Now, all she saw was an empty runway beyond the fogged windows, and a single worker pulling away the metal steps. A woman who built an empire from nothing, who made decisions that shook markets, who never arrived late to anything in her life, had just missed the one flight she couldn't reschedule. Her chest tightened, jaw clenched, palms trembling not from exhaustion, but from the sudden collapse of control. For the first time in years, she wasn't in charge of what happened next. And she had no idea that missing that plane would be the beginning of everything she needed, but never knew to ask for. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and moments that change lives unexpectedly, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner to keep these stories alive. She booked the next available seat, one random spot on a commercial flight she never imagined herself sitting on. Veronica Hale, the kind of woman whose perfume cost more than some people earned in a week, now stood in line with crying children, tired families, restless travelers, all wrapped in the ordinary chaos she had long forgotten existed. Area lights reflected in her teary eyes as she forced herself to breathe slowly. Her assistant was calling, emails buzzing, numbers flashing red across her phone screen, deals collapsing, schedules breaking apart. For years she'd believed her value was measured by how busy she stayed, how much she controlled, how strong she appeared. But at that moment she felt surprisingly small. The seat beside her wasn't first class, wasn't private, wasn't anything she was used to. A man sat there, messy hair, wrinkled shirt, a coloring book in one hand, and a small pair of dinosaur socks peeking from his open backpack. A little girl, maybe 6, leaned against him asleep, tiny fingers curled around his sleeve like he was her entire world. He looked tired but peaceful, like someone who had learned how to carry heavy things with quiet strength. His name, printed faded on a worn backpack tag, read, Gideon Ross. The plane lifted through clouds, and Veronica tried to lose herself in work, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Her company was on edge, and missing her flight meant missing the biggest negotiation of her career. Everything she built could slip from her grasp in a matter of hours. She blinked hard, blinking away panic, when the little girl stirred. She woke, eyes wide as honey, and stared at Veronica like she was a character from a story book. Not scary, not intimidating, just different. "Do you need a sticker?" the girl asked softly before her father could intervene. Veronica didn't know the last time anyone asked her that. A sticker, something so small, so human. She nodded. The sticker was shaped like a bright yellow star. Veronica placed it on the corner of her designer laptop, where numbers flickered like warfront signals. For a moment the screen felt less like a battlefield and more like a doorway she didn't want to walk through. Gideon apologized for the interruption, but she only shook her head. His voice was calm, gentle, the kind of tone that comes from both heartbreak and healing. They spoke quietly, about his job at a local mechanic shop, about raising his daughter alone after losing his wife 2 years earlier, about exhaustion, love, hope, and survival. Veronica listened not as a CEO, not as a woman hiding her fears, but as a human being who had forgotten how to feel anything except pressure. Mid-flight turbulence shook the cabin. Veronica gripped the armrest, panic rising, nails digging into leather. Gideon's hand rested lightly beside hers, not touching, just there, steady like an anchor she could hold if she chose. She took it. In that moment, she realized she had spent years surrounded by boardrooms full of people, yet had never felt less alone than she did beside a stranger who had nothing to offer except sincerity. By the time they landed, she had missed the deal entirely. Her company would survive, she would rebuild, but something deeper shifted inside her, something gentler, quieter. Gideon stood to gather his bags, and Veronica felt something she didn't expect, sadness at the thought of him walking away forever. Before he left, he handed her a small folded paper torn from his daughter's coloring book. On it was written, in uneven crayon letters, "You look like someone who needs a friend." A phone number beneath. No expectations, no agenda, just a chance. Months passed. Veronica made changes, fewer meetings, more sunsets, more breathing. She began visiting Gideon and his daughter on weekends. They walked through parks instead of discussing mergers, painted instead of pitching, cried over memories instead of numbers. She didn't rescue them, they didn't rescue her. They simply learned how to exist together, softer than they once were. She fell in love not with convenience, but with realness. Messy, beautiful, imperfect realness. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, comment your thoughts, and help more souls feel the warmth of human connection. Before this ends, I ask you one last thing. Comment below. Do you believe missing one moment can lead you to the right one? And sometimes the flight you miss is the life you're meant to find.